Hello, I'm Nakia Basharudin and this is Nightline, the top stories. Stiffer action to be enforced against those who defy the movement control order, says senior minister. And Philippines Duterte orders shoot-to-kill directive for lockdown violators. Welcome. As the country moves into the second phase of the Movement Control Order, MCO, police are using the stricter approach in dealing with those who do not take the MCO regulations seriously. Before this, police gave advice, but if people continue to be stubborn, they might be arrested on the spot. Senior Minister for Security Cluster of the National Security Council, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob, at his media conference on Thursday said the move is necessary as more people are being detained for violating the MCO. This includes those caught without a good reason for disobeying the order. He said to date, more than 4,000 people who failed to give valid reasons have been arrested. Some of them have already been hauled up in court, where a number of them have even been sent to jail for defying the MCO.
Dan tindakan mereka kini adalah di tahap keras. Kalau dulu tegas, mula-mulanya berlembut dan menasihat. Selepas itu dia bertukar kepada tegas. Dan kini mood pihak polis adalah keras. Jadi kita harap supaya rakyat terus mematuhinya.
The senior minister also noted that police have so far screened more than 38,000 vehicles at 687 roadblocks mounted nationwide, while almost 3,800 premises were inspected and surprise checks conducted at more than 23,000 premises throughout the country. At the same media conference, Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said in a bid to formulate strategies to safeguard the economy following the COVID-19 pandemic, a special cabinet committee has been formed to engage industry players to gather insights from people on the ground. The committee will address specific issues facing the business community, particularly small and medium enterprises, SMEs, manufacturers and investors. The International Trade and Industry Ministry said that the committee will hold its first meeting Friday and the second on April 5th. The special committee would report its findings and submit recommendations to Prime Minister Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin during the Economic Action Council EAC meeting slated to take place on Monday, April 6. The special committee will be co-chaired by senior ministers Datuk Sri Muhammad Azmin Ali and Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri Yaakob. Datuk Sri Ismail Sabri said the aim of the special committee is to strike a balance between the nation's economic priorities and the effective enforcement of the MCO.
Perlu ada imbangan di antara keperluan untuk menjaga kesihatan rakyat dalam masa yang sama juga untuk memastikan ekonomi kita tidak terjejas dengan teruk dan sebagainya. Sebab itulah diwujudkan jawatan kuasa bersama ini supaya kita boleh melihat secara teliti mengenai keperluan kedua-dua keperluan ini dan perlu diseimbangkan.
The special committee will be tasked with ensuring effective mitigation efforts concerning the issue of displacements in the labour market, while also focusing on measures to sustain economic engines such as the SMEs. The Health Ministry on Thursday has disclosed that about 80% of the COVID-19 patients either have no or mild symptoms of infection. Health Director General Dr. Nur Hisham Abdullah during his daily COVID-19 media conference said the rest were moderate or critical cases that require medical attention.
If we can flatten the curve, means we can lower the total number. And we do know that 80% of our cases, they are asymptomatic or mild symptoms. And perhaps 20% need some attention. For example, moderate cases or critical cases are normally about 10%. So we are seeing critical cases about 5% total of our cases. So we anticipate this will happen. That's the reason why we have strengthened our healthcare system, our hospital, to be able to cope when the demand, when the situation arises. The reason for us to flatten the curve is not expecting a zero-case COVID infection in this country. The reason for us to flatten the curve is because to allow our hospital to be able to cope with the surge or exponential spike of cases. So you can see that today, in terms of the patients in our ICU is increasing. So we need to make sure the capacity of our hospital can function well to provide good services to our patients.
He also noted that Malaysians has implemented far more stringent screening processes when compared to what was recommended by the World Health Organization (WHO) in the early days of the pandemic. At the media conference, the health DG also said that a 37-year-old man was among 5 individuals who succumbed to COVID-19 in the past 24 hours, bringing the death toll in the country to 50. The 4 others were senior citizens aged between 61 and 85. During that period, 208 new cases were recorded. With that, the total number of cases stands at 3,116. The number of those recovered were 767, while those being treated at the intensive care unit ICU were 105 patients. The Health Ministry today received medical equipment from China for frontliners dealing with the COVID-19 pandemic. Chinese ambassador to Malaysia, Bai Tian, handed over 40,000 pieces of N95 face masks and 350,000 surgical masks to Health Minister Dr. Adam Baba. The ceremony took place in Putrajaya, where more aid were channeled to the ministry. Among them were from Lembaga Tabung Haji and 5 corporate firms. The donations included cash, Zamzam water, breathing aid machines, medicated soap and air conditioners. The Batu Pahat district in Johor is now the country's latest COVID-19 red zone or hotspot, which is the most severe category. According to the Health Ministry today, with the addition of Batu Pahat, there are now 16 red zones of COVID-19 hotspots with at least 41 cases. Batu Pahat became a red zone after its total tally of COVID-19 cases increased from 39 cases on March 31st to 44 cases yesterday. Malaysia's 16 COVID-19 red zones are spread out across 7 states and 1 federal territory. Selangor continues to have the highest number of red zones at 4. The addition of Batu Pahat as a red zone means Johor has now joined Kuala Lumpur as having 3 red zones each, while Perak has 2 red zones and 1 red zone each in Negeri Sembilan, Kelantan, Sarawak and Sabah. The World Health Organization predicts that the number of coronavirus cases in Malaysia could peak in mid-April, although there are signs of a flattening of the infection curve. The WHO's head of mission and representative to Malaysia, Brunei and Singapore, Ying Ru Lo, said that based on available data, the WHO country office has projected that Malaysia could see a peak in hospitalized cases in mid-April. Lo said there are initial signs of a flattening of the curve, but warned that this could bounce back if control measures are lifted and if people don't continue to take protective measures. Lo added that data on new infections so far and additional surveillance measures did not suggest widespread community transmission in the country. The Philippine president has threatened to order law enforcers to shoot dead troublemakers who resort to riots and defy a month-long lockdown on the island of Luzon and force to halt the spread of the coronavirus. President Rodrigo Duterte warned in a televised speech Wednesday night that he would also ask the police to punish people who attack doctors and health workers with toxic chemicals by dousing the offenders with a potentially lethal substance or force them to drink it.
Kung gusto ninyo ng barilan, di sige. Gusto ninyo ng pukpukan, sige. I will not hesitate. My orders are sa police pati military, pati mga barangay, na pagka ginulo at nagkaroon ng okasyon na lumaban at ang buhay ninyo ay nalagay sa alanganin, shoot them dead. So let this be a warning to all. Follow government at this time because it is really critical that we have order.
Duterte's warning came hours after police broke up a rally by residents of a slum pleading for food aid and other relief supplies and arrested 21 of them in suburban Manila's Quezon City. The residents claimed that they had not received any aid since the lockdown began more than 2 weeks ago. The Philippines has recorded 2,311 cases of COVID-19, including 96 deaths, and expects infections to soar after more test kits arrived and laboratories were opened. Indonesian President Joko Widodo said on Thursday that the government is considering starting a new national holiday to prevent the annual mass exodus usually occurring at the end of the Muslim fasting month amid concerns over the spread of the coronavirus. He said at a cabinet meeting that measures could be put in place during the new holiday, such as making tourist attractions free to help bring some calm to the people. The death toll in the country rose to 170 on Thursday, passing South Korea as the country with the highest number of recorded fatalities in Asia after China. The country reported a further 13 deaths and 113 new cases, taking its total number of infections to 1,790. Singapore's health ministry on Thursday announced the country's fourth COVID-19 death, a 68-year-old Indonesian national male. The man was a Singapore work pass holder and had been in Indonesia from January 20th to March 16th. The ministry also announced 74 new COVID-19 cases as at 12 p.m. on Wednesday, bringing Singapore's total number of cases so far to 1,000. A senior health official in Pyongyang has insisted that North Korea at present remains totally free of the coronavirus, despite mounting skepticism overseas, as confirmed global infections near 1 million. The already isolated nuclear-armed North quickly shut down its borders in January after the virus was first detected in neighboring China and imposed strict containment measures. Spain's death toll from coronavirus has surpassed the 10,000 threshold after a record 950 people died overnight. The number of cases registered meanwhile rose to by about 8% from Wednesday to 110,238. And in formulating a comprehensive economic strategy during the Movement Control Order MCO, the Prime Minister stressed the importance of the role of government-linked companies, GLCs. Tan Sri Muhyiddin Yassin said they should play a more proactive role and to be an example to other companies or industries in implementing corporate social responsibility, CSR, to help the rakyat cope with the difficulties during the COVID-19 pandemic. He said this during a video conference today with 6 leading GLCs to discuss matters related to the country's economy. Still to come on Nightline, 24 Catholic seminarians punished for kickabout despite MCO. Do stay with us. Welcome back. Still on Nightline. Chief Justice Tan Sri Tengku Maimun Tuan Mat on Thursday ordered all remand proceedings to be heard at police stations instead of at the courts throughout the Movement Control Order MCO period. This is to reduce the risk of spreading the COVID-19 virus. In a statement issued by the judiciary, allowing remand proceedings to be done at police stations would eliminate the need to move suspects from the police station to the court. However, several conditions have been set for the police for the remand applications. The police are required to inform the courts on remand applications in advance to ensure the safety of court officers, staff and lawyers, as well as to ensure the suspect's right to counsel is not denied. This while strictly following all COVID-19 management guidelines issued by the Health Ministry. Police will increase efforts to ensure that the Movement Control Order gets full compliance throughout the country. Bukit Aman's Internal Security and Public Order Department Director, Datuk Sri Akril Sani Abdullah Sani said this is due to some who not only ignore the order but are seen giving silly excuses when questioned by the police.
Alasan dia pun beli roti, beli air, beli rokok. Jadi orang yang rasional pun susah nak terima alasan tersebut. Bagi kita yang rasional, pukul 10 malam atau pukul 11 sekarang ni kan, beli roti. Dan kita pun tahu kedai tutup. Setelah kemudian tutup kerajaan, bagaimana telah diumumkan oleh Perdana Menteri ya. Jadi kita susah nak terima.
He said this after observing an Ops COVID-19 roadblock in PJS 2, Petaling Jaya, which saw 12 people arrested. Petaling Jaya District Police Chief ACP Nik Izani Muhammad Faisal meanwhile said police have identified several locations in the district which were red zones, where there were still people who refused to comply with the MCO. He said these include Taman Medan, Taman Datuk Harun, Ara Damansara and Damansara Damai. In Pulau Pinang, 24 seminarians were ordered by the Georgetown Magistrates Court to carry out social service work for defying the MCO. Magistrate Rosni Muhammad Radzuan delivered the verdict after all 24 pleaded guilty to the offence. They committed the offence at the field of College General in Tanjung Bunga at about 5:30 p.m. on March 31st. All of them, aged between 25 and 48, were ordered to carry out the social service work under the guidance and supervision of a parole officer in default of 3 months jail. They were charged under the Offenders Compulsory Attendance Act 1954. The court said the compulsory order takes effect Thursday. All the 24 have been ordered to carry out their social service work for 3 hours on working days for a duration of 3 months. On March 31st, the priests and seminarians were arrested after they were found playing football at a field located in the compound of the college. The arrest came after police were tipped off by a nearby resident who had taken a picture of the men playing football. The trial of former Prime Minister Datuk Seri Muhammad Najib Tun Razak, who is facing corruption and money laundering charges involving 2.3 billion ringgit of One Malaysia Development Berhad 1MDB funds, has been postponed again. Deputy Public Prosecutor Ahmad Akram Garib said the trial, which was supposed to resume before High Court Judge Colin Lawrence Sekera on Wednesday, has been postponed to April 15th following the extension of the MCO. When the hearing resumes, Defence Lead Counsel Tan Sri Muhammad Shafi Abdullah is expected to continue with the cross-examination of the 9th prosecution witness, former 1MDB Chief Executive Officer Datuk Shahrul Azral Ibrahim Halmi, who has been on the stand since September 23rd last year. Malaysian hijab-wearing professional wrestler Nordiana has been featured in Forbes magazine's 5th annual 30 Under 30 Asia list. 20-year-old Nordiana is the first female winner in the Malaysia Pro Wrestling WrestleCon Championship held last July. Other notable individuals featured this year include Bangladesh's first female comedian and a social entrepreneur who helps farmers in the Philippines to improve their livelihoods. Also featured are K-pop girl group Twice and actress So Dam Park, best known for her role in Oscar-winning film Parasite, both from South Korea. The list features 300 young entrepreneurs, leaders and change-makers across Asia. After the break, Australian student detained in North Korea breaks silence about ordeal. We'll be right back. Moving on to the foreign news. An Australian student who was detained for a week in North Korea last year has described for the first time how he was interrogated, accused of being a spy, and threatened with execution or 10 years of hard labor. 29-year-old Alex Sigley, who was studying at Kim Il-sung University in Pyongyang and running the travel agency Tongil Tours, disappeared last July for 9 days before he was freed after negotiations led by the Swedish embassy. He had remained largely silent about his ordeal until this week, when he has revealed that he was snatched without warning from his student dormitory, blindfolded, and taken to an interrogation center where he was ordered to confess his crimes. Among the crimes Alex Sigley was accused of committing was posting a picture of a toy tank on Instagram, which his interrogators told him was military espionage. A fluent Korean speaker, he had written articles for several publications and posted apolitical content on social media about everyday life in one of the world's most secretive nations. Now let's take a look at what has been installed on the front pages of Malaysia's main newspapers on Friday, April 3rd. The New Straits Times highlights a report on epidemiologists' claim that the MCO and other preventive measures taken during the COVID-19 outbreak in Malaysia have borne fruit. While the nation's best-selling Malay newspaper, Harian Metro, underlines the proposed online Ramadan Bazaar after 5 states agreed to cancel it. Berita Harian focuses on WHO's report that says Malaysia's COVID-19 cases to peak in mid-April. And a report on the impact of COVID-19 on car makers gets the front page of the Malaysian Reserve. Be among the first to get your copies today.